Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Two Buds One Podcast, episode 34. Nope, 35. It's because Alchem said a number right before we started, so I forgot the number right away. As soon as I hear a number, I think about the number and I
It
forget the other number.
works! It works! I can distract him. Let's go!
Also, I think you minimized your thing again. You're frozen for me again. But I
Son
am
of a
your
bitch!
host. I am your host, the Techno Jelly, here with my co-host, Alchem Games. Today, I brought a bunch of stories because honestly, today, I don't know if you felt this way, Alchem. It felt like everything happened this week. There were so many things that came out that I saw constantly. It was like so weird, but a bunch of stuff happened, at least in the sphere that I watch. And one of the funnier things I've decided to start with a crypto story because it amuses me. But so picture it, Alchem. You and your partner decide to pull the heist of a century and steal 120,000 Bitcoin, worth over $10 billion in value, right? What do you do when you do that?
Launder it so that it can't be traced back to me in my wallet.
That makes sense. But what do you also do? What do you think would be the best possible stupidest decision you could ever make?
Write a book, publish a book, say, if I did this, here's how I do it. Wait, no, Andre did that.
That would be really funny. That would be funny. But no.
If
what
anything.
Oh, okay, no, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna just shoot this one right point blank. They didn't just obviously buy every single possible thing imaginable, did they?
No, but they did brag about it on social media, making hip hop videos.
Oh my! I was gonna say TikTok. I was gonna
I don't think it was it might have been TikTok, but it was. They posted multiple hip hop videos. It was a guy and a girl. It was a couple, and she started a hip hop career, and calling herself the infamous Crocodile of Wall Street.
Oh, her!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about. Wait, what happened? Did they finally actually get her?
The male involved has been sentenced to 5 years in prison, and she is. Yes. Well, yeah. They stole. It is, as of right now,
hundreds of millions.
$10.8 billion right now.
Yeah.
It was 120,000 Bitcoin. And yeah, he was sentenced to 5 years, and she's scheduled to be sentenced on November 8th, tomorrow, actually, as of recording. So, we'll get there. I probably won't talk about it on the podcast after that because it'll just be a sentence unless something weird happens. But yeah. The reason I wanted to talk about this is that it's going to be interesting to see if this is a what's that term, flash in the pan or something like that, because people doing illegal things with crypto or Bitcoin is like, there's so much fraud going around when it comes to that type of stuff. It's going to be interesting to see like how many of these people are actually going to be charged, because so far, at least from my knowledge, that is two big figures that have been officially indicted, which is these people and what's his face, the FTX guy.
Oh yeah.
So those are two really big figures that have done really illegal things, and it's going to be interesting how much. I just can't wait to see all the CoffeeZilla videos, basically, is what I'm saying. Is I want CoffeeZilla just to cover all these things because I think it'd be really funny. But he's too busy doing other things right now, which is understandable. But I really
sued by Jake Paul.
Yes, and he's taking on Mr. Beast at the moment as well with his his most recent video. But yeah, it's interesting to see the people doing illegal things in the crypto sphere actually getting punished for it, because that was one of the big problems with crypto, is that there was so much fraud happening that like you could just get away with it, but now people are actually getting charged. And you stole $10 billion and you're getting sentenced for 5 years. A little weak, but the fact that the sentence happened at all is a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So hopefully stuff like this will slow down. I mean, okay, the crypto fraud will not, but like maybe big ticket stuff like this will stop. And maybe people will smarten up a little bit. Though, to be fair, I still feel like calling it cryptocurrency is giving it too much credit because it's not a currency. It's not even close to a currency, but that's a whole thing. So yeah, I guess this would be a positive crypto story, a quick positive crypto story, since I came off of a relatively negative crypto stories the last week. Though, Alchem, I do have something that I forgot to tell you about that I was going to tell you about when I sent you the topics, because I just remembered, because I did in fact play a crypto game this week. I played a crypto game. And this crypto game, oh god, you could tell how much I enjoyed it because I forgot the name of it now. Let me just type crypto. I can't say the full name, but I can't. Okay, Off the Grid. That was the game name. Off the Grid. So, Alchem. Let me bring up the company's website so I can give you the amazing blurb of this game. Let's see, where is the blurb? Oh god, I need to get off this website. It gave me 400 pop-ups. I got really scared and clicked off.
Oh.
All right, let's click this one. About. There we go. So, you ready for this blurb? Founded on the desire to innovate, we break down technology boundaries in pursuit of deeply engaging next-gen experiences. Our team of wealth of proven knowledge touching on all corners of the gaming industry, alongside developing the skills and knowledge to produce wildly successful titles. Everywhere in that, the company called Gunzilla is a passionate, pushing player experience forward. The fuels our creative projects and ongoing work. To put simply, we dedicate to player enjoyment. So that's the team working on it. And then we're going to go over to the game. Okay, I'm going to click this. Okay. I'm going to get bombarded. Okay. Deny. And then we're going to go to about.
So it gets bombarded by a bunch of ads.
So, this is Off the Grid. It is a 3-player team battle royale extraction shooter. Right?
Oh. Okay.
Now,
slightly.
It is slightly interesting. Now, here is the interesting thing, right? So, the big draw to this is, wait, I need to remember this guy's name. Off the Grid movie guy. One of the people who helped create the world of Off the Grid is a big deal in the movie, or like in, oh god, I can't remember this guy's name now. Off the Grid video game. Okay, maybe I'll just go to the Wikipedia page. Oh, right. The game will feature a narrative storyline developed by Neil Blockman. He is the person who he co-wrote District 9 and Elysium, Chappie, Gran Turismo. So he's done a lot of movie stuff. So, Alchem, I downloaded this game and played. I'm going to be generous. I played this game for like maybe an hour, maybe 2, at most. And my conclusion of this game is, wow, this sucks that this is a crypto game. Because the game is a perfectly reasonable video game, Alchem. This is a reasonable video game. Like, I can send you just some clips if you want of just gameplay, but like the game itself is it's a battle royale game, you know? It's a battle royale game. It's the cool thing about this battle royale game is you know how in Apex or Fortnite and stuff like that, you are looting weapons, armor, and all that type of stuff, right? In this game, it's a blood sport that you're participating in, and you are an augmented human. So your limbs have been chopped off, and they are robotic limbs. Part of the loot tables is different kind of limbs with different abilities on them. And a lot of the abilities are movement based. So it's kind of like a movement arena. It's like arena shooter movement game, but battle royale. Right? Third person.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting. The problem is that this game, all of those items, weapons, and all that stuff is NFTs. Right? And the game has a loadout system similar to Warzone. Do you remember the loadout system in Warzone?
Yeah.
Like when you get kills and you get money, you can buy your loadout.
Yeah.
Same goes for the Off the Grid. You can eventually buy the loadout, right? So that means if you bought a really good gun on the NFT marketplace and put it in your loadout, and this gun is better than all the other guns because it is a unique object in an NFT marketplace, and it's just better, you can get it every time in the game.
Huh.
And it's weird. It's also really weird because the NFT stuff isn't in place yet. Like, the game right now is just a free-to-play game right now with literally no like monetization basically at all. Because it's, I don't know, it's weird right now. From what I know, there is no NFTs right now. Like the blockchain stuff is on a temporary market, and the coins don't do anything yet. So everyone just gets a ton of these coins to do stuff with, because in the game there is an in-game marketplace where you can sell all these items and stuff like that. Sorry, you're gonna say something?
No, I'm just like, I'm wondering wait, so why are they just no, go on. I'm kind of like lost in my thought right now.
Yeah, so the marketplace hasn't been set up yet. So it's just this like this faux marketplace with all these because the in-game currency is the tokens technically, right? Because they have a side blockchain. They have a side chain thing going on, like a lot of these types of games do with their own currency and stuff. So it's like none of this stuff really, the NFT stuff doesn't really exist yet. The NFT and crypto stuff doesn't really exist yet, which is a really weird thing, because the problem is that I fear that what they're trying to do with this is that they're trying to get people that don't like NFT crypto stuff, that don't understand the background of this game, because this game has been bankrolled by tons of crypto stuff, right? But the problem is that like the worst thing about this thing is that this game, it's a pretty okay game. Now, I will say, purely on gameplay stuff, Alchem, this game runs like it is the worst optimized game I've ever played. Like, I have to play on I have a 4070 Ti, right? I have to play this game on all low to get 60 FPS. Like, this game runs horribly. And I have a beast computer. And I wasn't recording, I wasn't streaming, I was just playing the game. I literally closed all internet stuff. I basically had the game open and Discord open, and that's it. and this game ran horribly. Like, but once I cranked everything down to low, I could finally play this game and not throw up because of how laggy it was. It is a totally fine third person battle royale. Also, they call it an extraction shooter. The extraction part is a lie. The extraction is specifically for they have, because this is a crypto NFT game, in its core, like in its heart, one of the items you can find in the loot tables during the games is loot boxes, and you can extract the loot boxes. So that's what the extraction means in this extraction battle royale. So you can extract loot boxes, which is fine, I guess. It's interesting. I'm like, honestly, that's interesting. I don't mind that. It doesn't make it an extraction shooter though. That's just a lie. You're just but I understand what they're going for. And honestly, I'm not totally against that. I don't know. I understand that loot boxes have a bad reputation, but I don't have an inherent problem with loot boxes in itself. I just have a problem with gambling mechanics when your game is marketed to kids. That's kind of a different problem though. That's not really the loot box's fault,
Yeah, no, it's the team and the marketing team of who they're trying to target. Yeah.
And that's also the whole, I think the ESRB rating system is a little weird when it comes to gambling. But so this game was weird because after the 30 minutes of the game running at 10 FPS, because it was literally frying my computer, and I got it to run properly, the game was fine. First, another thing, I hate games that force you into teams. I really hope at some point they'll have a solo mode or something. I hate forced teams. All games have forced teams nowadays, and I hate it. Let me play solo, please. I understand that you want to get people to you're the whole thing is hey, you can play this game. Get two of your friends to play this game. I get that. I'm not gonna ask Alchem to play this crypto game with me.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just queue in with random teammates. Honestly, the people were fine. I turned voice chat off, and honestly, I don't even remember if there was voice chat. If there was, I turned it off. If there wasn't, no one spoke. If I couldn't figure it out, no one spoke. I don't there was nothing like that. The most interesting thing, Alchem, is honestly, this game plays pretty well. What after you turn everything down to low so you can actually run the game properly. The movement and everything, pretty smooth, honestly. The shooting was pretty okay. I'm not saying this is gonna blow your socks off or anything like that, but the shooting was actually pretty okay. The gunplay, you die really fast though. The time to kill is COD level time to kill. Maybe not COD, but slightly, it's a little bit more than Warzone. You die really fast. But it's also because the whole link to this game is the movement abilities. It's all about dashing and gliding and doing double jumps and all that type of stuff. It's really strange because as I was playing this game, the more and more I played it, I'm like, this game would be so much better if it just wasn't a crypto game. They could actually just release this game, make it free to play, and sell loot boxes, and I think they'd make a ton of money. But the problem is with this weird crypto NFT stuff, it's going to turn a lot of people off, I feel like. And I don't even know if this is going to work. Because I feel bad slightly, because the developers of the game, whether or not they're into the crypto stuff, whoever pushed this crypto stuff, I don't know. But they've made a decent game. But I feel like once this NFT stuff actually happens, first of all, this game immediately becomes pay to win. 100%. To
Definitely.
The max. Because of the loadout system. And how some of the items work. And in the in-game marketplace, I did check out the marketplace a little bit, because like I said, the marketplace is implemented, but the crypto and NFT stuff doesn't exist yet. It's a faux marketplace with pretend coins, basically. I say pretend. Everything's pretend in this game, but you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah. Considering that it's all
Yeah, it's a video game.
currently faux market. Yeah.
The stuff, Alchem, was crazy
Yeah.
expensive. Like, the items were thousands of coins, and you get like point something coins per game. Like, only the whales, or if you buy, I assume what they're hoping is that you can buy these coins, like just like
Probably.
and because like these, some of these items were crazy expensive, and like the cheapest one I think at the time that I played, or at least from how I understood, to be fair, I also, it was really weird. The marketplace also was really laggy, and I don't know if that was my computer having a problem or like it's a faux blockchain. Like it's on a blockchain, right? This marketplace still. So like there were many things that were like they had the spinning circle loading icon and it just never loaded. And like I didn't technically, and I mean, to be fair, I didn't wait too long, but like I waited a good couple minutes before I clicked off of it, right? So like it's not like I just like clicked on it, waited 2 seconds and left. No, I waited a couple minutes, but they never loaded. So like whatever this faux blockchain thing they have, it's already overloaded. It feels like. And I don't think there's a lot of players playing right now. Like, they did have, I don't know if you saw this, but they Off the Grid went crazy with some of the sponsorships. Like, they sponsored, like, Tim the Tatman, Ninja, Shroud, like, a ton of people to play this game.
Why does it sounds like they're trying to create a thriving online community, and they're trying to build up this little game economics. Or I don't know how to describe, but they're basically trying to create their own little currency in game, and then try to do an equivalent with actual real world money eventually.
Yeah, well, they're trying to do is what Axie Infinity did. If you ever heard of that game.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, no, I'm familiar with that one, where it's like one for like almost one for one for not one for one for
not
cash,
for one for one, but like Axie Infinity, there was some stories of people actually playing that game for a job. Now, to be fair, there's an asterisk to that. They were making just barely minimum wage in the Philippines, but they still technically were working.
But they could make a living.
They could technically make a living wage. With asterisks, because it was in the Philippines. The Philippines minimum wage there. So that there is asterisks to that. And so yeah, it does sound like they're trying to go for that, and they're trying to sell the in-game items as well with the whole thing. And it's really weird, Alchem. And I'm going to be honest, I uninstalled the game. Also, one of the reasons why is because
it would be weird if you didn't.
Yeah, I uninstalled the game. Also because it's epicgamestore exclusive, because of course it is. Because any crypto game with their salt is now on, or any crypto game period, not even with their salt, is on the epicgamestore. Because Steam doesn't allow you to do that.
No, they want the currency in their market.
Yeah, that's why the banana game is so popular. But yeah, so I uninstalled the game. I'm probably never playing this game ever again, unless, I don't know. Honestly, probably not. But what saddens me, Alchem, honestly, is, okay, first of all, I'm kind of done with...
You're like, maybe.
That's the problem. The problem is, like, you know what? If this wasn't a crypto NFT game, and I wasn't so sick and tired of Battle Royale games, this is definitely a game I would have played. Like, if this came... If I was still in my Apex phase right now, Alchem, I'd 100% be super into this game. And that kind of, like, it scares me because I am a more knowledgeable, or not knowledgeable, I think that's maybe giving myself a little too much credit, but like I am a more informed person when it comes to this crypto scumbag stuff, you know? does the average guy who just really does the average person who just enjoys Fortnite or Apex or Warzone randomly finds this game knows that it's just honestly it's just a crypto scam behind the scenes. Like
Tell me
that.
something, Billy.
Okay.
Do the general aspect of the game design wise, is it let me just ask you this. Does it really appeal to the male like gaze? And by that I mean, you know, what typical males like to look for when it comes to
like masculinity or something like that?
Masculinity, femininity, like does it appeal to that? Like, is there sex appeal? Is there like the male power trip? Does it do that kind of stuff?
I think there is a little bit of I mean, it's hard to honestly, it's hard to say. I don't think there is a traditional male fantasy or power fantasy here. Okay. Male power.
Is there
I don't
sex
think
appeal?
So. Not really. I mean, all the characters have robotic limbs. Like there is no real like there's no sexy characters.
Charming characters?
There's no sexy characters from the scene.
Charming character design or personalities?
The personalities are all right. The only character you hear a lot is the voice announcer, and he is so annoying. He speaks so often all the time, and it's like can I turn this guy off? And I couldn't. Which is really
so. From what you're telling me, considering one, it's an NFT style game or something like that, and yet you were like, if this wasn't that, I'd be playing it back in your heyday of battle royales. Then it must be a pretty decent at least game.
It's because Alchem is that it's combining like arena style movement. There's so much Titanfall 2, like Titanfall 2 dash and like grappling hooks and slides and like movement abilities, because all your limbs have those abilities on top of them. It's like it's an arena. I thought I said that before. Sorry. It's an arena style battle royale where the movement abilities are a big deal. It's also one of the reasons.
Royale shooter.
Yeah, it's also one of the reasons why I think time to kill is so fast, because everyone, like, if everyone is playing not even optimally, but if everyone is playing to their character ability, like their limb abilities, everyone's dashing all over the place. Like they're doing double jumps, they're doing dashes, they're grappling hooking places, they're doing slide jumps and all that type of stuff. So like, and like inherently when you jump and you have enough going down momentum, you go into the like a flying mode basically, and where you can like fly around.
Jeez.
Like in battle royales where you do the drop animation, like you can get into that animation with just a slight amount of distance going down, and and you increase your speed, and the map itself isn't very vertical, so you can get in crazy amounts of speed. Like I said, Alchem, the actual game is pretty interesting. There's some flaws. It's a little janky in some places, but the biggest problem I have is that this game is a crypto NFT game. So like, it doesn't matter how good the game is. It's a scam. Like it's gonna be a pay to win scam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
and it really sucks, because I feel like whether or not the developers put themselves in this corner, or maybe they need, like there's so many outcomes that, or like situations that they could have had to do this, but it really sucks that these guys couldn't have just made this game and just sell cosmetics or loot boxes or whatever, like even if you're just like, hey guys, this is a free-to-play game and we have loot boxes, I'd prefer that over crypto. But yeah, I played that for about 2 hours. I got sad about it, and I was like, "Well, I have a story for the podcast."
They're supposed to be fun.
I'm like,
they're supposed to make you laugh.
I was like, "Well, at least I have a story for the podcast, I guess." And then I got the Castlevania stuff that was The funny thing is, the reason I opened the Epic Game Store and I saw this game, Alchem, was because I opened it and saw, because of the new free games that were coming out. And I was like, oh, I want that. So I was gonna claim it, and I was like, what the heck is Off the Grid? And then that started off.
Oh, this looks cool. Oh, this is really fun. Oh no, it's an NFT.
And then I saw that, and then I was like, wait a minute. Why? And as I was playing this game, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, as I'm playing this game, I'm like, wait a minute. Off the Grid. I've heard that before. After I played like my first game, and I'm like, man, this game runs really badly. I'm like, man, what's this weird marketplace? Man, have I seen this game before? And I realized, and I looked it up. Juan, the Juan has made a video on this. The guy that I watch for terrible crypto games, he made a video on this before. And it's like, oh, that's why I remember this game. That's why I kind of remember it. He basically had the same opinion as me. Watching his gameplay footage is actually hilarious. The game ran worse on his computer, which is insane because the game did not run well on mine.
No, I see.
So yeah, that was Off the Grid. Please don't play it. No one play it, please.
But no, they got it. How are they gonna get all that? How are they gonna get all that money for their NFTs?
Yeah,
the beautiful cryptocurrency.
I can't wait, Alchem, to tell you a couple months from now how like the game came out on all platforms in early access on October 8th. But like I said, it's got this weird no blockchain, like all the crypto stuff isn't in yet. I can't wait to see when that stuff is implemented and everything crashes and burns. Like that will definitely be a train wreck that I want to watch. You know?
I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. It's really fun to see where all these things go and crash and burn when it really. I mean, eventually these things, they don't work.
They don't.
They develop a small niche audience, but it's so small that it doesn't sustain itself.
Yeah.
And eventually they start doing drastic things, and it gets to the point where obviously even the drastic changes don't do anything, so it just collapses on itself.
Yep.
And some of them just do really stupid stuff. I mean, some of them just vanish just into the into thin
a lot
air.
of them poof into thin air, but some of them just have basically full on meltdowns.
Exactly.
Like the Axie, awesome to see. The Axie Infinity stuff was a full on meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
It still kind of is meltdowning, kind of.
It's like it's finally dying down, but you can still see traces of it just falling apart at the seams. But I don't know. I feel like it's a stabilizing.
I don't know. That game is not stabilized.
Plateauing. I don't know.
It dropped off. It dropped off really hard, and then there was some really weird stuff that happened with that one.
Yeah. No, that's why it's fun to see when they do that.
I mean, that's why I still keep up to date on, or not up to date, but that's why I still observe the crypto space, because it's really funny to point and laugh. You know?
Now's the time where Now's the time where we throw back our heads and laugh.
But
I'm glad you knew. I'm glad you knew.
Yeah, I know. I did. I threw back my head and laughed. But so that was that game. To a very sad / funny / kind of interesting crypto story. To, in my opinion, probably the funniest story today, Alchem. I'm going to talk about a group of people that everyone hates. I don't think there's a single person in this world that enjoys this type of person. And I'm going to talk about scalpers for a second. Because, Alchem, do you know the PS5 Pro is selling so poorly that scalpers have started selling it at a discount because they can't offload stock that they bought?
It was all part of PlayStation's plan. They know that the scalpers buy it. They buy it in droves, thinking that it's going to sell like crazy and that people will actually buy it to get it early and stuff. But
here, let me send you a picture. This is eBay. This is eBay. This is eBay prices in Europe, or not eBay. It's secondhand market in Europe, so it's in euros, but it's literally they're selling it less for what it's sold for.
I still don't understand how scalpers haven't figured this out since, like, this has been since PlayStation 3. PlayStation's got no games. PlayStation ain't got no games.
Yeah.
There's literally been, like, maybe 3 or 4 main title series that were worth a PlayStation 3. And then a PlayStation 4 came out. I think it was just God of War and Spider-Man. And Spider-Man later came out on PC eventually, and so did God of War.
What about the Horizon games? Were those PS4 exclusives, or was that PS?
Horizon?
Was that
PS3? I think Horizon finally came out on Horizon was. I think it was PlayStation 3 or maybe PlayStation. I think Horizon
there was a PS4 Horizon game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there was. I think it's the second one.
Yeah,
but I think in the end it came out on PC too.
Yeah, it is on PC right now.
So literally, once you got to that point, PlayStation doesn't have any games, and PlayStation 5, besides maybe Spider-Man, which isn't even a new game, it's just they just remastered it, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta double check.
The Spider-Man one?
I'm just remembering. There is no exclusive for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation Pro.
Well, okay. I guess that that's just because they release games on PC now, though. Like, oh god, Ghost of Tsushima is a PlayStation exclusive for consoles.
Yeah, but for exclusively for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that was a PS5 game.
Oh, that was a PS. Okay,
yeah, Ghost of Tsushima and oh god. There was one Astrobot is a big PS5 game too.
That's it. Yeah,
but those are the only two that is God of War Ragnarok. Is that a PS5 game or is that PS4?
No, that was PS4.
Was that PS4? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one where he's fighting the Norse mythology gods.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Those are the only two PS5 games that I actually know of that are exclusive. And funny enough, the one I want to play is Astrobot.
I think everyone wants Astrobot,
but I'm not buying. Platformer. Yeah, I'm not buying a PS5 for it, but I really.
But it's cheaper now.
When that game, well, it's only cheaper in euros right now.
In euros, it's shit. Oh my God.
When I hopefully Astrobot comes to PC, so I can play it on PC one day, because that's what I want to play it on. I'm not buying a PS5 for that game. I will definitely enjoy it, but it's not worth a PS5. You know?
A year. How long has the PlayStation 5 been out? A year, right? Or PlayStation Pro, I mean. PlayStation 5's been out like what?
No, not even a year. It's been out like less than a year. I was making fun of it. I was making fun of it a couple months ago.
Yeah. PlayStation 5 has been out a year. PlayStation Pro has been out just a few months, and this coming holiday season, the scalpers have just learned the lesson that most gamers have learned of PS5, PlayStation just having no games, honestly.
PS5 actually came out in 2020, Alchem. PS5 is 4 years old and it still has no games on it.
This makes it even worse!
Yeah.
I didn't break what I just threw.
Like
it makes it so much worse.
There's so little PS5 games out that you thought the PS5 was only a year old. It's actually 4 years old. It's actually 4 years old. Came out in 2020.
That bitch has been out for 4 years, and there's only
well, 2 games. There are 2 exclusive games. 2 exclusive games.
I probably can count the number of exclusive games on my hand.
Do you count Demon Souls? I know Demon Souls, the remastered Demon Souls came out on PS5.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I guess we'll go with that.
So that's 3 games that I can remember.
That's a gimme. That's not a gimme. That's a mercy.
Yeah, that's a mercy. To be fair, they did update a bunch of stuff. They updated, they did do some good stuff on it, but it's not a brand new game.
It's not a good thing for Sony, PlayStation specifically, when your new console gets bought out by scalpers and the scalpers realize they can't sell this crap.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh,
really bad.
I mean, granted, they don't have to give a crap. They sold the console to the scalpers. Haha, joke's on them.
Yeah.
I feel like this was.
I mean, they still made the money, but like, I think the funniest thing, Alchem, is if you see in this picture that I sent you, only on one of the listings do have people actually looking at it. All the other listings don't have, like the other 2 listings that it shows, there's no one paying attention to it. Like, there's no watchers.
Oh my.
So like, people aren't even looking for it. Like, they're not even putting it on like the maybe like the watch later or look at later or keep an eye on tabs. It's so bad.
This is all just an elaborate. This is all an elaborate plan by Sony. Just trick the scalpers into thinking this is gonna sell like crazy. Everyone's gonna buy it. Everyone's gonna go nuts and pay thousands of dollars to be the first people to get it.
Yeah.
And just to get the scalpers to buy it all. It's all a giant elaborate ruse. We got them. We got the scalpers.
I don't know, man. They seemed They seemed oddly confident in the PS5 Pro, which is weird.
It's like, ladies and gentlemen, the PlayStation 5. What does it do? It plays your games. It reads CD. It doesn't read CDs. You need to buy.
No, the PS5 Pro doesn't have a disc drive, Alchem. That's extra.
It plays games. So where do you put your CD? That costs extra.
You have to buy it digitally from our store. That's only available in certain countries.
It's an elaborate PC. That's it. It's a downgraded, elaborate PC designed solely to play their games.
Yep.
So I'm just like, oh, it is like a.
I mean, it's why the only consoles I'll probably ever own is Nintendo consoles.
Oh my god, it's okay. You know those dumb like stream service boxes that you can kind of order for yourself? It's basically that, but to play games.
What, the PS5?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a streaming box.
It's a streaming game.
It's a Netflix machine. You know what the funny thing is my family gave my grandmother a PlayStation 3 because we literally couldn't find a Blu-ray player. Like, we actually can't find her a Blu-ray player or like
they died out.
So we're like, okay, I guess we'll just give her the old PS3 that we have.
Oh.
It's just like how for a lot of people they own like a console or, well, not even nowadays, but because nowadays smart TVs can do it, but like before smart TVs became really big, people owned an Xbox or a PlayStation for Netflix.
I know. Oh god.
But now smart TVs exist, so like it's not really
they're useless.
A thing. And so now the big problem is that these, to be fair, Xbox kind of sees the writing on the wall because they like the Xbox is really the reason you own an Xbox is to play Halo or Xbox Game Pass.
Oh god, we're gonna get okay. We are going to get to that point where the technology is so good that it can be minimized to a small little device, and you know those cheap little knockoff things that say 100 games in one, and it's a small little box thing. That's literally going to be an actual official console one day, where they're like from PlayStation.
How come they've already done that? Like, don't you remember the small PlayStation, like the very small PlayStations that they sold? Like the old school PS1s? That was like a plug and play console? They already did that. Same with the NES versions, like those small ones.
Oh, I want to smash my desk.
They've literally already done that. How come?
Well, what I'm thinking is then it's just going to be basically again like a Roku kind of thing.
Yeah, the only difference,
just a small little box.
Yeah, the only difference is you need to be able to connect it to the internet. For the ones that you're talking about, it's online only. I've killed Alchem. Yeah, but actually, I mean, okay. To try to put some positivity on this.
Behold, the PlayStation 6. It's a fucking Roku that plays games.
It'd be sad, Alchem, but I would laugh so hard if that was true.
I'm seeing it. I'm calling it in the next gen, this gen or next.
PS6?
One of these bastard consoles, either Xbox or PlayStation, is literally just gonna make a streaming box that plays consoles, and they're going to finite the technology where all you need is something to play the game, and they're gonna try to minimize it as much as they can, and something to hold. They're not even gonna have it so you can hold the games.
Xbox already kind of does that.
Yeah, but no storage either. So it's just gonna be a small little box, and it will literally be like the dumb Roku box things.
Okay, just to put some realistic stuff here, or I don't think that can happen only because cloud streaming games doesn't work. Because the internet infrastructure doesn't exist for the majority of people.
Give it a few years. Google or Musk with his stupid Starlink will do it, and then we'll be like, oh Lord.
I'm gonna say a hard no on this because Stadia existed. Google literally couldn't do it. Google couldn't do it, Alchem.
My dystopian future for gaming will happen. You will see it will happen.
I mean,
in a few years, if we're still doing this podcast, I'll be like,
I don't say
called it. I fucking called it.
No, I don't. Honestly, Alchem, I don't think so. Only for the simple reason because I think they can make more money doing what they're doing now. I think they actually lose money if they try to do that. Because the problem is then you lose the ability to sell games and you lose the ability to sell consoles because you only need to buy that thing once. And then you have to argue like, okay, well then are you doing subscription services? And that you could do subscription services, but the problem is with subscription services is that we're already at a point where people are tired of them.
I was going to say though,
we're already at the.
But what if you don't have an option? Like, what are they gonna do? Buy the game? We no longer make physical copies. It's heading that.
I mean, then people will just. Then people will just.
Going back into my original circle.
Then people will just go to PC.
That's true.
Because
but what if?
And they're also just or they just go to Nintendo because Nintendo will not do any of this.
But Jelly, what if suddenly in a future year, say Steam announces that those games you buy, you don't actually? Oh my God, it's happening! It happened already.
Yeah, well,
I'm calling it.
Well,
I mean, future.
Yeah, but I mean that's just not true.
Future. I'm sorry, I'm just quoting SpongeBob here. But oh my God! I mean, the more I think about a dystopian gaming future where corporations will literally kill out the personal, physical concept of owning something and just trying to make everything either
they've already done that,
or a service, or just because they're trying to turn physical stuff into a service.
Yeah.
Because then you will have to constantly pay instead of one and done, and you can enjoy a game forever. If you want to enjoy that game forever, you got to keep being on that service.
Yeah,
which I hate again, me being cynical and dystopian and blah 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 blah. I think that if it's leading there, and every time I see a corporation be like, we're innovating, we're making this new change. It's like, no, you're not. You're clearly trying to push us in the direction of submitting to a subscription.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Let me put it this way, Alchem. I agree with you that some corporations are trying to do that, but I disagree with you that they'll be successful. Because there's been...
We're stupid and complacent, Jelly. We know we'll fall for it.
People will fall for it, but the problem is that corporations will realize that they can make so much more money not doing that. And I feel like once realize that
production cost.
No, but like you don't. Okay, let me put it this way. Collecting things is a big deal. Collections is a big deal.
Yeah, but
it just becomes collector's items, and then when you what happens is they start doing that, and then there's a digital version and a physical version, and the physical version has a limited amount of copies that already technically exists, just not as a big of a problem, because there was a big problem during the pandemic where physical copies literally weren't being able to produce, so there was only a limited amount they were able to produce, and those copies sold for so much money.
Jelly, that's a you're digging, man. I'm sorry, you're digging into the scarcity fallacy, which digital markets have tried to apply scarcity to digital things, even though
but that's never gonna
is
work.
not possible.
That's never gonna work.
They've done it before. There are exclusives. There's like stuff that they've done with some exclusive versions of a game that you can only buy digital. Okay, good example. Nintendo has already done that.
Yeah, Nintendo does.
Remember the Mario collection with what's it called? Mario Galaxy and Mario Sunshine and a couple of others that you could only buy for like a little bit.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
And then after that, it was gone.
Yeah.
That is digital exclusivity. That's digital scarcity to try to drive up sales or drive up the desire for it.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's. I hate that. No, it hurts my brain.
I mean, to be fair, those are re-releases of games, though. Like, they didn't just stop selling. Like, the original games still exist.
Yeah, but that's they're baiting on nostalgia.
Yeah, they're baiting on nostalgia.
That's literally baiting on nostalgia.
They're baiting on nostalgia. But I think, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I just don't believe that corporations will make more money not selling us stuff, because they go from selling us a bunch of stuff to selling you one thing, and that's a subscription service. And I feel like selling many things to us will still make more money than selling the one subscription service. Because, I mean, if anything, Xbox has proven that subscription model can work. But if that is the only thing going for you, it can't, you have to sustain an amount of growth that isn't possible. Because that's one of the reasons Xbox is just reeling so hard right now, is that Xbox Game Pass is literally the only thing making money for Xbox right now. And if Xbox Game Pass like slows down at any point, which it did, like I think in the beginning of this year, or maybe it was either the beginning of this year or the end of last year, where new subscriptions slowed down, and the Microsoft investors and people like that freaked out. Because Microsoft is failing everywhere except for Game Pass. And the problem is that like Game Pass, you can only do so much, right? Because all the other things that Xbox sells isn't doing well. So they need to like, and apparently there's also like, not to change the topics too much, but like apparently Xbox is working on a handheld system, which is kind of interesting, but that's only rumors, and who knows, like there are some leaks and stuff like that, but like it wouldn't surprise me, because the Xbox Game Pass with a mobile Xbox makes sense, because they are basically saying we're giving up on console sales, right?
Yeah.
Or going in a different direction for console sales, because I feel like the Xbox as we know it is changing, because first of all, the Xbox Series was a failure in like 400 ways. The Xbox One was a failure in 300 ways. And the last win Xbox has had since the Xbox Game Pass was the 360, basically. And that was almost 20 years ago now. And I think Xbox is proving to us that a subscription service in the video game industry isn't sustainable, because for a big company like them, because you need growth. And you will eventually.
Growth, what do you mean?
Okay, I guess it's also one of those things where, in a subscription service, growth is different than other platforms, right? Because like, if you're selling a console, the amount of consoles you sell is growth.
Yeah.
Right. But in a subscription service, the number of new users is growth. But the problem is you're constantly fighting people unsubscribing. When you sell a console to someone, once they buy the console, that's it. That's growth. There's no such thing as negative customers, which is what subscription services have, because some people will unsubscribe, right? But like, so like it's a different scalability of growth, because you need to outgrow the unsubscribing people. Like for a console sale, you always just try to sell more consoles no matter what. You're never fighting, like you're never fighting people like selling back your console. I mean, you know, technically people do that too, but like, you know what I mean, right? Like it's a different marketplace. And I think big
Oh, I get
companies have realized that it's not sustainable, or like it's not sustainable in the way that big companies or corporations go, because the line must always go up. And the problem with subscription models is the line goes up, but like it needs the amount of stuff you need to do to continue it going up, fighting the unsubscribing people, is a lot more, I feel like. Or not, maybe not more, but it feels like it's for, okay, you know what? Let me okay. I've realized my point I'm trying to make, and let me rephrase this. The reason I think it's not sustainable is because of the same problem you and I have been talking about. We've ranted about it multiple weeks in a row, or like we have talked about this before, but the reason is because we always talk about it. The PlayStation 5 has 0 games. A subscription service doesn't work if you don't have games. How do you get games on there? You make the games. Okay, you make some games. But a subscription service, you need constant new games, right? So how do you get those new games? Well, you buy games from developers to put on your subscription service. And that is a lot of upfront money, right? For maybe success. And I think that's the problem that a lot of these things have, because it's true. Xbox Game Pass is a success, but we don't actually know if Xbox Game Pass is profitable. They've never said Xbox Game Pass is profitable. I'm almost positive. Out of all the news stuff I've watched and all the articles I've read and all the news things that Microsoft has said, they've never claimed. I've never seen them say Xbox Game Pass was profitable. They've just said growth is up, or subscribers are up, or new users are up, because they spend so much money getting games onto Game Pass, you know? Now, to be fair, that is slightly old news, because, you know, that was before they owned Call of Duty, and Call of Duty was on Game Pass. So, you know, that's probably changed the numbers a bit, but like the amount of money you have to spend to get good games onto a subscription service, I feel like is too much of an upfront cost to a maybe good future. And I don't think big companies, other than companies like Microsoft, that are willing to burn the money, because when Xbox Game Pass first came out, it wasn't a success. It was a money sink. And then all of a sudden it became a success because everyone realized how amazing a deal it was. And to be fair, it's still an amazing deal. I'm not saying it's not an amazing deal. But the problem is that can Sony also do that? And I just don't think that's reasonable, possible, because eventually they, like, then I think the biggest thing, Alchem, is that if let's say your hypothetical of like the streaming box thing happens, that future happens. Oh, not the one interesting thing that I think is that there wouldn't just be one box, though, because there isn't just one person trying to sell it, right? So there's going to be multiple of those boxes. And then how do you get games on those boxes? Well, you have to buy the games from the developers. But now you have multiple companies fighting to get good games on their things, and that's going to drive up the price for those developers. You know? It's like, I just don't see it working out, you know? Because eventually it's just going to become where it's too expensive to put these things on the boxes, and it's going to be like, okay, well then, like, I feel like that's, I think, the costs of that stuff. Because imagine if even just think about it now with the PlayStation Plus stuff that Sony has. PlayStation Plus is a bad deal only compared to Xbox Game Pass, because Xbox has slapped the competition when it comes to subscription services, right? So like, if you are a game developer, right, and you're making a game, and Sony goes over to you and is like, hey, we want you to put your game on PlayStation Plus, and you say, great, give us $1,000, and then Xbox comes and is like, no, you're not going to go on PlayStation Plus. We're going to get you on Xbox Game Pass. We're going to pay you $2,000. You know, it's like, and then like that can just go back and forth depending on the game, right? And that's going to be a constant fight. And I just don't think that fight is worth it for many companies, which is why I don't think it'll reasonably happen. Now,
really?
Yeah, go ahead.
what is stopping that now with consoles? Like current consoles.
Current
The
consoles
only
right
option
now?
they have.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
right now
the
it
only
is
option they
being
have right
stopped,
now
kind of.
is the only options they have is console A,
And console
Sony,
B, yeah.
console B, Microsoft, or option C,
Nintendo.
Steam.
Well, Nintendo
Well,
also exists.
Nintendo, yeah.
Nintendo
Okay.
is in their. Nintendo is the outlier.
Yeah. Nintendo is hilariously. Nintendo is the most outlierish thing in this thing because they don't.
Because technically they do all three.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as like the gaming software that the other two are. They still kind of see themselves as their own little game or toy or something, but in reality, you see them doing the same practices as the other two.
I mean,
They're
they
just kind
sell
of more sneaky about it.
Yeah, they just don't call it a streaming service, but the Nintendo Online membership is 100% just their version
It's
of
a
Xbox.
streaming service.
It's their Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah,
like
exactly. They're banking on nostalgia just like the other two are.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so sorry, what was your question again?
No, I was just gonna say this example of like if it did go to the whole streaming thing from from PlayStation Network to Xbox's Gamer Pass, and they don't they'd have this struggle. Game developers have this struggle deciding from one or the other.
Yeah.
But what's stopping them now with the current like hardware consoles? It's the same. It's the same process. It's literally the same process.
What's stopping them is first of all, when I don't know the exact like process of getting a game on Xbox or PlayStation, but I don't think if you just want a game on Xbox, it's more about just porting it yourself and then applying to be able to put it on it, if I remember correctly. I don't know if you have to pay for it to be on Xbox or PlayStation. I actually don't know. I think you have to pay a fee to put your game on Steam. I know that. I don't know the process of getting your game on Xbox or Sony. I assume there is a fee of some kind. Right? I don't think it'd be
some kind of qualifier,
some kind of thing you have to go through, right?
Yeah, there might be some hoops you have to jump through.
But the biggest thing is that at best, it doesn't cost Sony or Microsoft anything for that right now. Right now, at least the way it's going right now, it costs money for Microsoft and Sony to put games on their subscription service. They are buying the privilege to put your game on Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus right now. From my knowledge.
That is true.
So it doesn't cost them anything right now.
Yeah.
So if that was the standard, you'd have to be making some crazy amounts of money to be able to afford that all the time for every single game that's released. Now, I don't think that would happen. I don't think but honestly, the biggest thing, Alchem, along with all the money and all that type of stuff. Now, let's say something is figured out. Right? Whatever happens, they solve it. You know? Both of them are streaming platforms now. Microsoft and Sony both have a box that you can stream games from. They don't have to spend crazy amounts of money. Maybe they fight for a big name or something like that, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because there's exclusives nowadays and all that type of stuff. The biggest thing is the internet infrastructure to stream games doesn't exist. And
so yet,
I agree with that. But the problem is, I don't think we're close at all. I think we are multiple decades away from being able for a streaming gaming platform to be accessible, because the amount of money the internet companies make right now by being bad is so much that the tech companies, I don't think, can fight them right now. Because you have to remember something, Alchem. Stadia happened. And Stadia had a lot of problems. Stadia was a bad product in a lot of ways, but the thing is that the problem with the biggest problem with Stadia, okay, there's a lot of problems with Stadia. One of the biggest problems with Stadia is that if you got it, you bought the game on it, which you had to buy again because it was stupid. But if you had that game, You then had to have an insane internet connection to be able to play that game without lag.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
in America and the US and Canada, which are the US is one of the biggest video game markets in the world. And internet infrastructure in the US doesn't exist well enough for streaming video games. Single player games, let alone multiplayer games, Because like even in places like Korea and Japan where the internet infrastructure is much better, like streaming video games is a pain. And that's going with the fact that you also have to go with internet, like that's also going with the fact that you also have to you have to think about like internet plans and stuff like that, like not everyone has infinite internet availability. Like some people have set limits to how much internet they can have, right? And so like a video game is going to take a crazy amount of gigabytes, right? It's like when Netflix like first came out and people were like, holy cow, my internet bill is going nuts because of Netflix. And like internet companies were like, oh, we'll charge you more but give you infinite internet or like infinite gigabytes and stuff like that. And like now they make tons of money from that. But like the biggest the biggest hindrance in your dystopia, Alchem, is the internet infrastructure isn't there for streaming video games. I'll tell you this, Alchem. Outside of the whole money thing, because I'm sure the companies could figure something out. Outside, if the internet thing was available, I do kind of agree with you. I do think they would try that. I don't know if they'd be successful. I'm not nearly as doom and gloom as you are. I guess, funny enough, I am the sparkly-eyed hope person in this, between you and I when it comes to this stuff. But, like, I do think they would try a streaming box. I don't know if it would work. If the hypothetical internet infrastructure existed, I'm not sure. I don't know if it would work. I think there's still a lot of problems like outside of the internet stuff that a pure streaming thing exists. And honestly, one of the problems I see it is people like owning things.
Yeah, like that is one of the
there in the video game community, at large, there is a huge subsection of collectors. And like I don't think those guys would be happy about that. Because like because
they're the ones who mostly talk with their wallets, and they're the ones that most of the
they're the ones buying games a lot. Because like a good portion of the video game industry is just playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, and just like sports games, and they don't go outside of those games.
Just saying one of the big reasons why I feel this is because we're about to like scratch the surface of this topic. One of the reasons why I feel like the game developers, or not game developers, but the
AAA companies right
now. The AAA, yeah. One of the reasons why I feel like they are driving more towards subscription-based stuff is because, like you said, they buy it once and that's it. The sale has been made and nothing more.
Yeah, recurring revenue.
Reselling doesn't matter. Someone's selling it for a lot because of its nostalgia, because it's a collector item, because of any of that. That doesn't matter to the AAA industry because they're not the ones selling it. That's one of the reasons why they're trying to drive it towards a subscription-based thing, because
recurring.
Essentially, as long as it could be $8, it could be $10, it could be 15, it could be whatever amount, as long as that recurring amount eventually exceeds the cost of a game and console, then it works.
True.
As long as you pay, if you paid a years-long subscription for their services and it costs you $60 to $80, that is well worth the cost of a game. If you've been using it for years, then it's well worth the cost of a console. And it's one of those things. It all depends on what they release and what they put out. And most of these damn subscriptions, I'm saying this one because this is getting annoying to me, is it's driving the need to push out old games and old titles that they haven't touched or worked on for years or haven't done anything with, solely because we'll buy it because of nostalgia, because we're gamers and we love our old games. And it's killing the drive for innovation, creativity, and new games. Hence why we haven't seen a big growth in new games recently. Because why do they need to? They just need to push out nostalgia and people buy subscription.
There has been big growth in gaming. The problem is that
you're right.
It's
Astro Boy sold well.
It did. The problem is that so much of the capital, I feel like, in gaming is just being spent on bad or wrong things. You know, and maybe that's me.
We need
that's
a star-studded cast, and we need the best graphics. Gameplay doesn't matter. Well, yeah. Storytelling doesn't matter. Writing doesn't matter.
It could be me putting on the tinfoil hat, but I do feel like there's a lot of wasted money in the gaming industry. I believe that too. Also, I just looked it up right now. Okay, so this is in Canadian dollars, so I'm sorry, we can do the slight conversion. 6 months of Xbox Game Pass is $44 right now for me. $44.99. So like, you pass a game for 2 of those. So if you do it for a year, it's more than a game. Wait, well, it's about the same as a game for a year. Wait, no, this is Xbox Game Pass Core. They changed it, didn't they? Okay, Xbox Game Pass Unlimited, which I think is like the tier that like you get everything from it. 3 months of that is $54.99 for me. So 6 months of Xbox Game Pass Unlimited is a game. Is a video game for me. Because full price games can go from $80 to $100 in Canada. So like you're talking about like, you know, the reoccurring. So you have to do it twice basically. Pay for it twice. At least right now. Which isn't too bad, but to be fair, Xbox Game Pass is still a crazy deal. So that's interesting. Sorry, I got distracted. What were you saying?
No. I was getting to. I was just saying the whole cost of like as long as they paid a certain number for the subscription, then eventually they'll pay out. It'll balance out what they the cost of the games that they put out. I mean, hell, like all they have to do is literally say, "Hey, look, these are the new games we're releasing." Like the Game Pass.
Yeah.
They just throw out nostalgia games from years and years ago that it's probably no longer available on any like public shelf or anywhere anywhere physically. People will buy it.
It's true.
And all they had to do was just put out an old franchise that they are not going to remake. They're not going to make more copies of. They just put it digitally.
Yeah.
And there you go. It just feels like it incentivizes not wanting to make new games, but I don't know. I still feel the industry needs innovation to drive sales because you need people to be wanting to play. You want them to play new games, or at least you want them to. Yeah.
I think there is still a lot of innovation in games, to be fair. I think the problem is it's just like every time we start talking about stuff like this, is that the problems that we are talking about are specific to AAA companies, and that's what everyone pays attention to. Because there's a ton of innovation happening in like the indie and AA scene. The problem is that scene doesn't have marketing, you know? And so like these AAA companies, they need to get their act together, I think. And I feel like Microsoft is kind of gearing themselves to start getting their act together with the whole like maybe Xbox or whatever the mobile thing they're making. Sony is like, I don't know what Sony's doing. I hope Sony figures something out because dunking on Sony is starting to get boring slightly. It's still pretty funny. It's still funny, but like it's going to start getting boring soon, guys. Like I don't know how many times Alchem and I need to talk about how their PS5 is 4 years old and it still has 0 games. And the whole streaming thing, the whole streaming games, like honestly, Alchem, I agree with you that they want that to happen. The problem is they need to like the biggest hurdle is the internet infrastructure, and I just don't see that happening in the next decade. Maybe 2 or 3 decades from now, the internet infrastructure will be good enough for streaming video games, but like it's just not good enough, and I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially in the US where a lot of the internet companies have very tight holds on a lot of things, you know?
I suppose.
But I agree with you that they want that to happen, because it just, now that you've talked about it and we've talked about it, I do kind of agree with you. They probably would make tons of money with a subscription service. But I'm not entirely sure if it would be, I mean, they don't care. What I'm thinking about is like, I don't think it'd be sustainable, but they don't care about sustainability. They care about money now. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it shows profit, as long as they can continue to say sales are up,
yeah,
subscription is up, as long as they can say up, or show positive growth,
as long as the line goes up,
they don't care.
As long as the line goes up.
As long as the line goes up. Exactly.
So yeah.
Anyways, my rant over.
It's okay. It's okay. It was a good rant.
Doomed.
No. The funny thing is that started all because I wanted to make fun of scalpers, which is kind of funny.
I know.
Which is still funny. That scalper thing still is very funny.
Don't let me put on my tinfoil hat. I swear.
No, you're
going to get a tinfoil hat. I'm gonna make
you do need a tinfoil
version
hat.
Of myself.
You do need a tinfoil hat. Yes. Honestly, I probably need a tinfoil hat.
Be like, listen, Jelly. Be like, listen, Jelly. You see a little tinfoil hat just fall on from the sky and land on my head. And there we go. You like already know what time it is.
Yeah. So we do have a couple more stories to talk about.
Yes.
This one is okay, Alchem. I'm not saying if okay, let me give you some advice, Alchem, okay? Let me give you some advice. All right? Hypothetically, Alchem, you should never do anything illegal. Anyone, never do illegal things. Okay, doing illegal things is bad. But for whatever reason you are going to do an illegal thing, don't record it and then brag about it. So let me just read this.
Oh yeah,
let me just read this. I don't know if you saw this before, but streamer who taunted Nintendo faces 7.5 million lawsuit for pirated Switch content. So I'm not saying this guy's name because he doesn't deserve to be named. But this guy, he's a streamer guy who makes content. I think he does it on... Okay, he does it on everywhere because he constantly got banned, obviously. But he has tons of accounts. Basically what he would do is that he would get illegal copies of Nintendo games and then stream them, right? So he would get copies of games before they were officially out and or play on blatantly hacked, not hacked, what's that word? Like jailbroken or modded Switches, which is not allowed, and stream himself doing it. And so he is officially being sued by Nintendo.
Surprise.
And out of all the companies to do this against, you should not do it against Nintendo.
The most litigious
company these guys,
in gaming.
When you go up to video game corporations and say, bet, Nintendo will bet. Never walk up and say, what are you going to do about it to Nintendo? Because they're going to do something about it. They're not just going to ignore you like some other companies. The game, they calculated $150,000 per infraction, and he's done at least 50 of these things in the last 2 years, and they claimed a total of $7.5 million in damages because at least 10 Nintendo games were streamed without authorization, all before the titles were released to the public. The most recent example is literally the game you were playing earlier before we started doing this. He streamed Mario and Luigi Brothership on October 22nd. when it had a November 7th release.
Which,
like, this guy is the biggest idiot and like, he is such a stupid person.
He painted a target on himself, and he just said, "Look at me, Nintendo. What are you gonna do?" And what's funny is Nintendo is basically showing their hand. Well, not showing their hand, but showing like how they do this. They don't target emulators, like people who stream emulation of their games.
Well,
like, that are old and are not new.
Like, the entire Pokemon community is based off of emulating
most
the Pokemon.
randomizer runs.
All
randomizer runs are literally emulation runs, and Nintendo doesn't crack down on them unless they try to monetize off of it or something.
The only time they've ever cracked down on some things is like when the Breath of the Wild community was doing a bunch of stuff. I know some Nintendo, some of the videos got taken down, but like, it was just DMCA takedowns, not like
it was
lawsuits.
literally automated.
It was like, hey, DMCA, hey, don't show this stuff. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you're like, okay, technically that is against terms of service. Technically.
This guy was not only blatantly like playing games before it came out. He basically was showing that he had stolen it, because there's no way to have bought the games at that time.
You can't buy the games. Like, you've literally, like, you've done multiple crimes.
And also, and hilariously, Nintendo can also just basically say, in doing so, revealing the game and showing the game off before it even came out. And so people watched, witnessed, saw the gameplay, saw the story, saw everything. Basically, it got to experience it through the eyes of another person. Would probably have lost sales, because by the time the game came out, these people saw beginning to end of the game.
I mean, like, you don't even need to play it. Yeah, you don't even need to argue that, though, because like, he's done blatant crimes, like, in like 3 things. Like, you don't even need to even worry about proving something like that. Like, he's literally just done crime. Like, he has committed crimes. And I hope he gets wrecked, because he's an idiot. Like, look, I'm not the biggest fan of Nintendo, obviously. We've had many discussions where I've blatantly said I'm not the biggest fan of Nintendo. But, like, I can't fault Nintendo for this. Like, this guy is literally pushing every bad button in existence as a content creator, and calling him, like I said, I'm not going to name him because I don't think he deserves it. But, like, when you do this stuff, it's like, it just makes it so much harder for everyone else that's trying to do it legitimately. Because, like, now if you are a person that wants to play a game early for Nintendo for advertisement, it's like, you're more unless you're known, Nintendo's going to say no or just ignore you.
Oh, yeah. They're just like, yeah, cool, I want to.
Because they don't want to risk it.
No, not anymore.
And, like, to be fair, Nintendo has been pretty okay when it comes to just like, hey, I'm gonna play Nintendo games. They can be kind of weird sometimes, but like, generally they're okay for streaming and stuff like that. Recently, I mean, I guess it depends. The problem is, for Nintendo, with everything, it depends. It depends on the game. But it's just, don't do something blatantly illegal in front of Nintendo, because Nintendo will in fact chase you down. They don't care. They don't care how small you are.
The Nintendo lawyers do not give a fuck.
They'll come at you no matter what.
It is not even a joke. People joke around about Nintendo lawyers. No, they don't give a flying F.
Yeah. They actually, funny enough, Alchem, so I just read a little bit more of it. The lawsuit claims his actions not only violated copyrighted, but also encouraged a culture of infringement, impacting sales and hardware exclusivity. So they actually are like talking. In the lawsuit, it is actually talking about impacting sales and stuff, along with the blatant violation of copyright.
Yeah. No, that is where most of the money is coming from. That's
probably the damages.
Fines are.
That's probably
the damages are from
lost
impacted sales because And what's funny is, there's no guarantee, which is funny about that whole thing. There's no guarantee that all these people who watched would not consider buying the game at all.
Yeah, but
They can argue that.
They can argue that every single person is a lost sale, potentially.
All they have to do is just see how many views any video from them have gotten, even the live stream. And there you go. That's lost revenue. Every single number counted, every single viewer counted is considered lost revenue, which they can argue in the court.
Yeah.
And so this guy
and
it
doesn't help with this. It doesn't help that this guy did it very illegally to begin with. So like it's not like he streamed a game, right? And Nintendo is suing him because he's streaming a game because, you know, for whatever reason. He like literally stole a game, streamed it early, and then bragged about it. Like it's
showed it all, bragged about it.
And he's done it multiple times in the last 2 years. Where he's doing blatant copyright, like he's committing so many crimes that like the least amount of worry that whoever is going over this lawsuit is like they probably wouldn't even care. They probably wouldn't care whether or not Nintendo is being truthful or not when it comes to the loss of sales, because he's so blatantly in the wrong it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just like wondering, are people just genuinely stupid when it comes to their trail of like crime? I mean, one, don't leave a trail of your. I mean, don't. This is not advice.
It's like I said in the beginning. Don't do anything illegal, ever.
Yeah, don't do things illegal for goodness sake.
But if for whatever reason something illegal is happening around you, and you are involved, don't record it.
Yeah, what the fuck? Don't record it and then don't post it on social media.
It's like what's Philip DeFranco say? Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. Sorry, Phil, don't mean to quote you. I mean, actually, I do. You're awesome.
I meant to quote him. I meant to quote him. Yeah. Please don't sue me.
Yeah, don't sue him. Don't get your lawyers on us.
Yeah. I can't afford a good lawyer.
I can't afford shit. But yeah, I stupid is as stupid does, and this guy
is really dumb.
Stole the game, showed off that he stole the game by streaming it, and was like, ha ha ha, what are you gonna do, Nintendo? They did something.
Turns out they did something.
Definitely did something, yeah. The most litigious gaming company, and you're gonna like moon them just or point blank, just like in the very most obvious way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Very dumb.
I'm waiting for whoever it is that's going to stream the next big game that comes out from Nintendo. There's always going to be someone else. There for some reason it just seems like we're in the generation. Everyone wants to stand out, even if it means doing crime somehow. It is the saddest thing.
There's a lot of people in the world. Not everyone can be smart. But yeah. That. When I read that story, Alchem, I actually just like face palmed. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, oh man, it's just gonna be so annoying every time, man. Every time. And it's always content creators that do these stupid things too. Makes me sad, Makes me sad.
But Jelly, the content.
It's true. The content.
You know, the good thing these people are doing that, so we can just like talk about that. And there are content.
It's true. Yeah. If they didn't do stupid stuff, we would have less content. And you and I can't rant about stupid people, and that's pretty fun, to be fair. So
exactly, that
is pretty enjoyable. I do enjoy that. So speaking of stupid people, Blizzard Entertainment exists. Recently.
What did they do?
Recently, Blizzard did a Warcraft 30th anniversary stuff. And, okay, you know what? Let me retract that statement. I'm sorry, Blizzard. Not everyone is stupid, just some of you. Mostly the executives. So let me start with the positives, Alchem. Let me start with the positives. Warcraft?
Overwatch?
No. This is the Warcraft 30th anniversary.
Oh.
It was the Warcraft 30th anniversary. They did like a direct. They did like a Warcraft direct thing. And they had a bunch of announcements and stuff like that. They talked about like the new World of Warcraft stuff, which is cool. I haven't played World of Warcraft in a long time, but like, yeah, they talked about World of Warcraft stuff. The stuff I want to talk about, because it's nostalgic for me, is because they remastered Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2. And they did a 2.0 version of Warcraft 3 Reforged. They released Warcraft 3 Reforged 2.0 on the same day.
Oh.
And along with that, they brought back one of the old school things that existed for a long time called the Warcraft Battle Chest, which I don't know if you knew that existed or not. The Warcraft Battle Chest was in the olden days when PC games were sold in stores, Alchem, the Warcraft Battle Chest was Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 in a box. It was like a collector's box that you could buy. And they brought that back for Battle.net. So you can buy now Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 with all the DLC, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you get all the DLC as well, which is really cool. And you get all 3 games for me in Canadian dollars, it's $53.99 for all 3 games. So that's a pretty good deal.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good deal. No, but here's the thing, Alchem.
What's the downside?
You're buying the Warcraft Remastered, Warcraft 2 Remastered, and Warcraft Reforged. Warcraft 3 Reforged. Do you know the disaster state of Warcraft 3 Reforged?
It's not 2.0 or whatever the
2.
hell you mentioned?
2.0 fixes a bunch of stuff. The problem is that Warcraft 3 Reforged is still kind of a buggy mess. It's just not as a buggy mess. They did fix a lot, which is to put credit where credit is due. They fixed a bunch of stuff. They fixed a bunch of the menu problems. They redid the menus to make it more look like Warcraft 3, like a Warcraft 3 remastered. They made a new option in Alchem. They put in the Warcraft 3 Reforged 2.0, they added a new graphics option, which is the classic graphics, but HD upscaled, which I can't believe wasn't already an option in Warcraft 3. No, that's a new option they added in Warcraft 3 Reforged 2.0. The old graphics, but HD textures wasn't a feature in Warcraft 3 Reforged until now. Yeah, exactly. So that is cool. The problem is it's still Warcraft 3 Reforged, so like there's still a lot of problems in that, but they did fix a bunch of stuff, and I actually follow a bunch of Warcraft 3 guys, and for the most part, it's a lot of positivity. A lot of positivity. For the most part, though, to be fair, it's a lot of positivity because most of them have given up hope on anything happening. So, like, the fact that they're actually still working on the game and trying to actively fix it, they're just like, oh, we thought we were abandoned. And they're like, oh, no, they're actually fixing stuff and adding stuff, which is cool. So that's great. But Alchem, they remastered Warcraft, the original Warcraft, and Warcraft 2, right? Have you ever played any of these games?
No.
Okay. What was the last RTS game you played? Just so I know your basis.
Kingdom Under Fire.
I don't even know what that game is.
Wait, real-time strategy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kingdom Under Fire.
I don't actually remember what that game is. Did you ever play StarCraft?
Nope. Never played StarCraft. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing.
Kingdom Under Fire? Okay, let me do a quick Google.
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, Kingdom Under Fire. Real-time strategy. Wait, is it an RTS? I don't check.
This one's more of an action strategy from what I can tell. Yeah, okay. So I know what this game is. I wouldn't necessarily call this an RTS game, but yeah, because this is the one where you're controlling a character and you can have units with you, right?
No, I mean there's only one character you technically control, but you do control a bunch of other
So it's like
other units.
Yeah, it's an action strategy game, what I would call it. But that's okay, it's close enough. That's fine. I know that you're not really a big RTS person, so it's fine. Okay, Alchem. Warcraft 1 is a game made in 1990.
Oh yeah, just realized. Well, no,
It
Brutal
really
Legend doesn't count. I guess it's still action.
Brutal Legend is still an action game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Warcraft 1. Warcraft 1. It was released. Warcraft Orcs and Humans. It was released in 1994. Right. Very old game. I personally never played this game, but I know there's a very small, dedicated group of players that love the original Warcraft, right? I mean, it spawned all these games. Of course, there's a big community.
Of course, it has a dedicated group. Yeah.
They changed the art style of this game, Alchem.
No.
In the remastered, it is a new art style. From what I can tell. And basically everyone's like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not the original art style.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go in the nostalgia, if you're gonna bring back a classic, keep the art style, and if you're gonna redo it, then make it a different, like an option. Make it optional.
Yeah, like Warcraft 3 Reforged has now.
Yeah.
Like you can go back to the old graphics. Now.
Not force an upgrade, no.
So that's one problem.
Do that where you get like two options.
Yeah, that's one problem. The second problem, the actual graphics themselves are weird. Because, Alchem, like I said, this game, or Warcraft Orcs and Humans, was made in 1994. Do you know what wasn't standard in 1994? A lot of things, but the main thing for PC gaming was resolution size was not standard at the time. So, resolution, a modern resolution of 16:9 is now supported in this remastered, and they've redone the UI and all that type of stuff to fix that. The problem is that the original portraits look really weird because they weren't made to... They were upscaled, but not like properly upscaled. So like it's the most hilarious thing of the most dedicated players, and even me, who I haven't seen or played Warcraft 1 in actual decades. I played Warcraft 1 a long time ago because I was like, man, I was curious, right? So I played it and I was like, man, this is really rough because the game is really rough nowadays. But even me not knowing that much of the history, and it's like, oh gosh, the portraits look really weird. Like they're like 4 pixels off. Like it's just slightly off and it looks really weird.
Ew.
Yeah. So that's really weird.
Especially for those who played and remember the original look. That's gotta look eerie or disturbing.
Now some very positive things. They basically redid all of the controls so it works like a modern RTS. Because okay. So Alchem, in an RTS game, just very basic stuff. Select a unit, right click on the map to move it, you know? Pretty standard, right?
Yeah.
Warcraft doesn't have that because it was made in 1994 and that was before right click move was kind of thing. Before, you had to select a unit, hit M on your keyboard for move, and then click on the ground and then select the area, right? So now you can just select a unit and right click. And also, in Warcraft 1, you could only select 4 units at a time because it was made in 1994.
The technology didn't allow for like you to
now you can select. Now
area.
I think you can select up to 12 units, which is what StarCraft Brood War had as a limitation. But Brood War had that as a limitation, as a balance limitation. Funny enough, it was a code they actually wrote specifically for that. Because that's
otherwise you could literally send your entire army after one target.
The game would actually break if you could select more than 12 units in Brood War. Funny enough. So, that is interesting. Another thing, multiplayer for the Warcraft Orcs and Humans remastered is completely off. There is no multiplayer. They turned off multiplayer.
That's stupid.
Which is kind of sucks, but it also kind of makes sense in like a bit like... I don't think enough people are going to be playing this game multiplayer to justify service costs.
Yeah,
which kind
so.
of sucks because it's it. I kind of wish they had. What I would say is I kind of wish they still had the multiplayer option to be like, hey, if you want to set up a match with your friend peer to peer, go ahead.
Yeah, peer to
Where
peer should have
like
been a
I think they
consideration.
should have been. I think they were like, hey, if you could offer peer to peer stuff, sure. I understand not paying for servers. I get that, but like I understand not paying for servers, no ladder or anything like that, no modern 1v1 ladder. I get that. It's Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans made in 1994. Let me peer to peer matchmake with someone if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
If we both have the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's kind of
That I can.
yeah. Now, the Warcraft 2 remaster is basically the same, where they've upped the textures and stuff, and like this one is a little bit better because the graphic style, basically what happened, Alchem, is the graphics between Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, the original games, changed,
Yeah.
right? So what the Warcraft 1 remastered art style is the Warcraft 2 look, basically. Just slightly different.
Okay.
So Warcraft 2 doesn't look as weird, except for one key problem of that.
What's that?
Somewhere in Blizzard, they made a huge mistake. Some of the animations for the units, I think this is already fixed, but when it first came out, some of the animations for the units weren't done properly. So for instance, when you have a peasant, Alchem, and you know when you in RTS games you need resources, right? You need to collect resources.
Yeah.
A peasant, you select a peasant and right click a tree. He's gonna chop that tree down. He's gonna do a chopping animation. Eventually, that animation will end, and he's gonna have a bunch of wood logs in his hand. He's gonna go over and deposit at like the town hall or whatever. The animation for hitting the tree with the axe is really weird, and I don't think it was finished properly, at least when it was initially released, because when the peasant or peon for the orcs hit the tree, it jittered. It like freaked out because I think the end of the animation wasn't done, or like it didn't have like the last few frames or something like that. So every time a peasant hit a tree, which by the way, you need a lot of lumber to make units and stuff. So you're constantly chopping trees down to get trees, to get lumber, to get wood. So like your peasants are always doing this. All your peasants are freaking out on your screen because they're jittering constantly because the animation isn't done.
Oh.
Or like or like something went wrong with the animation. I think they fixed this already by the time I'm talking about it now, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and funny enough, I'm pretty sure the multiplayer actually works for Warcraft 2, if I remember correctly. Which is interesting. Because Warcraft 2 actually, funny enough, Alchem, I am slightly involved in this community, but the Warcraft 2 actually has a pretty dedicated multiplayer community. They have tournaments and stuff still. Not crazy prize pools or anything like that. People are playing for mostly pride. It's all like, old school grassroots. Let's make a tournament, play for bragging rights type of deal. I think at one point there was like a $50 prize pool for first place or something like that. And it's also all old school gamers, so like if you are sensitive in any way, do not watch these things because these people are not typing sensitive things in the chat, let me tell you. They're also typing in different languages, and sometimes I don't want to translate what they're saying sometimes. So it's a very old school community in a lot of ways. So yeah, that was really cool. Honestly, I might get the battle chest only because it's such a good deal, and I kind of do want to revisit these games. And unfortunately, Alchem, I don't have the discs anymore of any of these games. I used to, and they've just over the time I just don't know where they went, and it makes me sad. I don't know where they went. and maybe when I might actually buy this war chest, and I will give you a first-hand report of if these games are actually as broken as everyone says they are. Okay, Warcraft 3 Reforged is as broken as everyone says they are. Maybe not the other two though. We don't know yet. And one last thing, because once again my fanboyism, I must talk about it. Is they also did a bunch of, because it was the Warcraft 30th anniversary, they did a bunch of stuff for Hearthstone, and Hearthstone is getting a crossover event with StarCraft, and a bunch of StarCraft stuff is being made into Hearthstone cards, and that's super cool, and it's coming in January, and I'm getting all of it. So that's basically it. Yeah. They somehow got me to download Hearthstone again, Alchem. I don't know how they do it. They do it every couple years, and they make me. They literally force my hand, and I have to download Hearthstone. It's literally no chance, no choice. I have to do it. This time, they're making a StarCraft mini set with Raynor, Kerrigan, and Artanis as hero cards. They can replace the classes, kind of like Draxus, if you remember Draxus from Hearthstone, like the old school card. Yeah. Basically him, but StarCraft stuff. And I don't know if you remember. Do you remember? Oh God, what's his name? Grunty. He was an old school, like Grunty, like 2009. Like he's like a Murloc in a
vaguely.
Yeah,
very.
He's like a Murloc in a Space Marine. He's apparently a card already.
Yeah.
Like they made him to a card, and everyone's like freaking out because they redid a bunch of the Hearthstone artists that make art for the cards have released the art already, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, I will protect Grundy with my life." Or Grunty, sorry, is his name, not Grundy. But yeah, and so that is me, talking about stuff like that. I hope this is a start, Alchem, of Blizzard's comeback, now that Microsoft is fully in charge and all the layoffs they've done all the bad stuff. All the bad stuff is hopefully done now, where they can get back to making good games and fixing the games that they currently have, because oh my God.
Hopefully.
Yeah. As a quick, just before we end here, because I am running out of stories and we are getting close to that time.
Okay.
Unless you had something you wanted to talk about very immediately. The only thing is that apparently there is a new StarCraft game in the works right now. And I can only get so excited, Alchem. I'm going to be...
What is...
We don't know. All we know is that there's some kind of StarCraft thing happening right now in Blizzard. And like the most notable rumors I've seen is that it's a first-person shooter co-op game. Which, in the StarCraft... I don't think you probably don't know about the StarCraft universe that much, Alchem.
No, not so much.
A first-person shooter co-op game works really well in StarCraft, in my opinion. The StarCraft universe is basically 40K light. Because StarCraft started as a 40K tie-in, like a 40K license game, and then the deal lost it, so they made their own universe. But like a co-op shooter with StarCraft stuff in it would be pretty cool in my opinion. But I'm also kind of just StarCraft starved. There hasn't been a new StarCraft game since StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, and that was 2016, I think, when that came out. So it's been a long time, and StarCraft has been on maintenance mode for years at this point. So I just hope for a new StarCraft game that is... I understand that it won't be an RTS... Like, I don't think you should make a new RTS game, honestly. I just don't think so. Because I don't think it'll sell enough. Even if you have a new StarCraft game, and even a StarCraft 3, I don't think StarCraft 3 would sell enough to make the company happy, the investors happy, or the executives happy. I think you need to make a game that sells well enough that you can make an RTS game in case it doesn't sell well enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There needs to be some kind of buffer, because it's one of my biggest things that I've learned over the years is that a $5 World of Warcraft microtransaction mount made more money than all of StarCraft 2. So that makes me really sad, and now I understand that, like, StarCraft needs to make a game that makes money. And StarCraft 2 sold really well, but the problem is, World of Warcraft was so much bigger. So StarCraft needs to make a game that makes money. And I will at least, I'm not going to go whale on a free-to-play game or anything like that, but like if they sell me a game, I'll buy it. If it's StarCraft. Because I'm a simp and I understand that. Look, I know what I am, Malcolm. I know what I am. At least
you understand.
If I still play StarCraft to this day, so it still makes me sad. All right, Alchem. Now that I'm very sad, why don't you do shoutouts?
All right. Well then, thank you everyone who's been joining in on the stream. My name is Alchem. I'm the co-host of the Two Buds One podcast. I'm the little tanuki on the right. You can catch me off podcast. You can catch me usually streaming on Twitch and YouTube, where I'm gaming a wide variety of games. I honestly just game whatever I want. I'm just having my fun with this. And you can catch me on those two platforms where I'm live. Or on, you can also catch me on Twitter, where I infrequently post stuff, usually model work that I do, just highlights of streams. On TikTok, where I try to make shorts as well. And yeah, YouTube as well, where I try to make shorts. Yeah, you can just check me out on those platforms. And if you like what I do and want to support my antics, feel free to. There's always what is it called? Subbing, bits, donations, Patreon, coffee, whatever the hell else, if you ever feel like it. Honestly, you never have to, but I mean, the most simplest thing you could honestly do is just follow and watch, and that's it. So, but yeah, thank you all for joining, and thank you for enjoying my antics along with my co-host Jelly over here.
Yes, I am the Technology. Just before I start as well, Alchem is all of Alchem's links are in the description as well. I am the Techno Jelly. Thank you all for watching today. You are on my YouTube channel, hopefully. Please subscribe. Check out the other videos. Check out all the other episodes of Two Bud One Podcast. Alchem and I talk about a lot of things. We actually have a problem of where we talk too much, so that's why we made this podcast. So, it kind of helped us out. If you would like to follow me on places, I would appreciate if you go to my YouTube channel. I try really hard. I'm getting very close to 700 subscribers recently, and I'm hoping to hit that 1,000 soon-ish. If you'd like to follow me on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, and what did I forget to say? Did I say Twitter? Twitter as well. Mm-hmm. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, I have a Patreon account where everything that gets into that gets put into this. And you can go into see me talk and ramble to myself in a pre-show and a after show of Two Buds One Podcast. This week, I talked about a bunch of stories that we ended up not talking about because I forgot midway through that I had a bunch of stories that I wanted to talk to Alchem with. I found them again, and then I was like, wait a minute, I also want to talk about this stuff to Alchem. I was like, oh man, there's so much stuff. And then I decided to say, some of this stuff it's a later date. Some of this stuff isn't time sensitive. Some of this stuff was a little more time sensitive, I felt like. So, and I wanted to talk about the Warcraft and StarCraft stuff because, once again, simp. So, that stuff was never going to be thrown away. So, thank you all for watching this episode of Two Buds One Podcast, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. All right. Nice.
Wait.
What?
Waiting?
Wait.
Bye, everyone. I ruined it.
It's gonna stay in. It's just gonna be silence for a little bit.
Oh.
Now, this is staying in as well.
Damn. All right, I see.